So I guess we can start with Paddy. How sad is the news that I guess seemed likely for a while?
Yeah, look, it's disappointing for him. I mean, he's understood that's probably been the case for a little bit of time. So it's disappointing that he's had to conclude his career, but he's also grateful for the experiences that he had, in particular last year, to come up here and play with Tommy and to play as well as what he did, and to finish off by playing 3 finals games, including a grand final. He's very grateful for that. So he's disappointed, but also grateful at the same time.
Now that he has made the decision, how big of a loss has it been, and is it for the team?
Yeah, look, he was fantastic for us last year. He never played back before, and we played him in defence, and he took to it so well and was a really good player. Probably at the halfway point, he's one of the better defenders going around the competition. So, he's been a loss, but that's the way it goes, and we can't do much about that. And we've had to try to evolve our team and continue to do that. And players like Nick Blake and others have had to take up some of the slack.
What sort of role have you had with him in trying to get him through the situation, communication-wise, mentoring?
Oh, it's just a matter of talking to him, and we're fortunate that we've known the McCartan family for a long time. We're very close to all of them, and one of the great thrills was watching him play with his brother last year, and some of the moments with his family after the games and things like that. I remember the Collingwood game, the prelim final here, when the 2 boys embraced going off the ground. It sort of sticks in my mind with the McCartan family, but these things happen in sport, and the most obviously the priority is that he feels okay, and there's a lot of life outside of footy, and that's the main thing.
Do you put an arm around Tom as well this time, John? Obviously, a pretty hard time for him too. So.
Yeah, look, he's realistic. He understands, but it's probably been the writing's been on the wall for a little bit as well. So he understands that it hasn't been a complete shock or a surprise to them. So. They're fully aware of what the situation is. They're just grateful that he's feeling okay, and there's plenty of life outside of footy. There's a lot to go yet. So that's the main thing. He feels okay.
Is there a role somewhere at the Swans for Paddy, you think, going forward?
I'm not sure yet. I mean, he's just sort of coming to terms with ending his football career now. So what happens in the future? He's got a few opportunities and a few different things, and we'll see what happens.
Obviously, it's a bit fresher with Paddy, but any close to knowing about that round 24 game? Maybe doing a combined farewell for him and Buddy.
Not that I'm aware of. There's been nothing that I know of yet. Yeah.
Yesterday in here we saw the pictures of the Matildas. What was that like to
it was great.
See all the players?
It was great. It was I think the players, both our men's and women's team, and probably the coaches as well, were sort of tried to give them space to be able to just come in and relax and get their recovery right. But they got the better of us just towards the end. We wanted some photos, and I guess we're like everybody else, aren't we? We're thrilled to see what they've been doing, and it was terrific to have them in here. They were able to just go about their business and get their recovery right. But it was good to have a chat with them too at the end, and wish them all the best. It was it was probably a few people in awe of them. It was wonderful to see.
Were any of your boys a little starstruck?
Yeah, I think they were. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Like that's what they've been able to do, and I think the boys they stood off to one side and let them go for a while, and then it just got the better of them, and they wanted to come up and get a photo, and that's great to see.
Joel Longmire, how's his hamstring for this week?
He's okay. It's not a tear, so that's a good thing. And he's had a bit of tendonitis there. He's been managing over the last couple of weeks, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how he goes on Thursday. He didn't do a lot today. We'll see how it ramps up on Thursday and make a decision after training.
Dane Rampy, Justin McInerney, any chance?
McInerney, no. Rampy's a chance. So he's been training. He trained really well on Saturday, trained again today. We'll see how he goes on Thursday, but hopefully he gets through training and is available to play.
What did you make of Lewis Melican's return in the twos?
Yeah, he got through well. So when he initially did it, we were a bit concerned that it might have been almost the end of the season for him, but he's been fantastic with his rehab. It wasn't as bad as what we first thought, and he was able to get through the game and he's pulled up well, so he's able to do some training today, so that's a really good sign for Lewis.
And obviously Braden Campbell back in. Did you sense that, even though he's still such a young player, that you kind of missed his presence out on the wing a bit on the weekend?
Well, yeah, he's been good for us. We've had, I've said it many times, we've got a really young midfield, and Errol on one wing and he on the other are pretty young, and you've got Chad and Rowie and those guys going through the inside. So, he's been able to give us some real run, and he's very clean around the contest. He'll come in this week and hopefully, give us some run and some hardness around the wings, that we'll desperately need against a really competitive Adelaide team.
Obviously great to win the clearance battle on the weekend, but how long can you keep up the kind of getting close on clearances, but the hit-outs being pretty dominant against?
Oh well, that's just what it is. It's we'll try and negate the amount of dominance that the opposition ruckman have got, and do our best to be able to do that. Hick's he's doing his best to be able to do that against. We come up with another good ruckman again this week, and then it's about what we do at ground level. So it's been competitive in the ruck, and what we do at ground level has been important. And the second half on the weekend, I thought we were pretty good around that space, and we were able to get some ground position because of it.
Such a big game on Saturday night. What do you make of the Crows? It seems like they had a little bit of a lift after perhaps plateauing a bit.
I think their last month has been super. 1, 2, lost 2, but those 2 have been against top 4 teams by a kick both times. So their form's outstanding. They're a pressure team. They've got some experience through the middle of the ground, some real experience. They've been able to handle a couple of injuries down back, and they've got a forward line that's as good as any, is converting inside 50, the best in the comp. So their form stands up, and so it'll be a real challenge to go over there on their home deck and play against a team that's over the last month been as good as any going around. So a real challenge, but we're looking forward to that.
Nick Blakey's 100th game. Thoughts on him and the milestone?
Yeah, the Lizard. I've known him since he was born, so that makes me feel pretty old. But yeah, look, he's. We're very fortunate, obviously, that we've had the Blakey family really close to us for a long time. So, it's been fantastic to see him come right through. From a little fella right through to what he's doing now, and he's an important part of our team. He's on and off the field. He's got great spirit around the place too. He's a real character. He's loves being around the boys. He's an important young member of our group, and what he's able to do on the ground has been important as well. He's been good. Obviously, people talk about his run and carry, which is terrific and important for us. But last week in particular, he was able to defend and get some intercepts and stop the opposition in its tracks a number of times. And he can play on talls and smalls. So, it's good to see him play his 100th game.
Obviously, Tex has been in some quite good form this year for the Crows. Is that a change you could see someone like a Tom McCartan maybe step up to down back?
Yeah, look, he's kicked almost 70 goals, Tex, and so he's been probably the best form of his career at this time, and so it's going to be a real challenge for whoever plays on him to make sure that we give him the respect, obviously, first of all, that he deserves, because he's a gun player. Our players have got a lot of admiration for what he's able to do. He can kick a goal from 60, 70. He gets it out of the ruck. He can snap it out of the ruck. He can do a lot of things. He's in great form. So it'll be a challenge for our defence.
John, just back on Paddy, when you brought him up from the Saints, obviously he had that concussion history. When you look back on that decision to bring him up here, was it a decision that was made with an awareness that it could kind of end this way?
Well, I mean, we took the advice at the time, and now from AFL concussion experts, the best in their field, and that's all we can do. He went through an exhaustive process back then, got the all clear, and came in and was able to contribute and be fantastic for us. And he was guided by the experts then, as were we, and we're guided by the experts now, as he is, and that's all we can go by.
So there's no regrets now when you look back on that call?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you sit down in front of some of the best experts in the country and be guided by them, as he is now, and that's all you can make the decisions on.